Hello everyone, my name is Alexandria Barton, and today I'm going to talk to you about some important aspects of nonverbal communication. I will explain what nonverbal communication actually is, the influence it has when we send and interpret messages, and the way nonverbal communication can vary from culture to culture. Listening with your eyes is essentially a way to explain how we can see a message and interpret it without hearing anything. Mae West was quoted as saying, "I speak two languages, body and English." If you think about this, it's very true. Everyone listening today speaks two languages. We send messages with words, and we send messages without words or non-verbally. The meaning gathered from nonverbal cues and behaviors is more influential when interpreting a message than what is said verbally. Nonverbal communication is universal only in the fact that all people use it, but the meaning and interpretation varies greatly from culture to culture. What is nonverbal communication, and why is it so important? Nonverbal communication is essentially a way to send and interpret messages without the use of words. The reason it's important is because many things are expressed nonverbally. We express and interpret emotions through nonverbal behaviors and cues. Sometimes, if you ask your friend, "How are you doing?" and they say, "Oh, I'm fine," but their nonverbal cues do not agree, we will disregard what they have said and believe what the nonverbal cues are telling us. If you look at the chart to the right, you will see that very little meaning in a message is gathered from words. Instead, the majority of meaning, over 70%, is gathered from nonverbal messages. There's no one way to communicate nonverbally. There are many ways nonverbal communication is used. The first category is the use of space. There's public space in photo 1. This is the largest use of space. You can see this in public areas where people are not familiar with one another, like the park. Social space in photo 2 is used for people who we do not know very well, like maybe a casual acquaintance. It gives just enough room to shake hands, but isn't too close. Personal space, seen in photo 3, is found during interactions with people we know well, like our close friends. The last category of space is seen in photo 4. This is intimate space and is reserved only for people who we know very well, like our family. Eye contact is another form of nonverbal communication, and although the eyes may be small, they carry a great deal of power. Emotions can be expressed and interpreted through the eyes. Look at the pictures of the eyes. Without seeing the rest of the face, you can make a pretty good guess at what emotion the person is trying to express. Has anyone ever tried to avoid eye contact with someone? I know I'm guilty of it. When you avoid looking at someone, you're essentially sending the message that you're not interested. On the other hand, making eye contact may be all that you need to let someone know you're interested and would like to talk to them. Touch is another small but powerful nonverbal communicator. We can send many messages to a person just by using touch and not using a single word. Think about comforting a friend or being comforted. Simply placing an arm around another person can send a message of compassion without saying anything. Body language may be the most powerful nonverbal communicator. Not only do we all use body language to send messages, sometimes without being aware of it, but we also rely heavily on body language to interpret messages we receive from others. Look at the body language of the two women. What do you see? The body language on the left is closed off and unreceptive, and in contrast, the body language on the right appears open and inviting. With only slight differences in the body language, the messages are completely opposite. As mentioned earlier, all people use nonverbal communication, but it varies in meaning and interpretation from culture to culture. Touch is one aspect of nonverbal communication that varies greatly depending on the culture. For example, in Latin America, it is not uncommon for people to hug each other often, and in the Middle East, it is not uncommon to see two men holding hands while walking down the street. Italy and Greece are also touch-oriented cultures. The way eye contact is used and interpreted is also very different depending on the culture. In the U.S., eye contact is perceived as a sign of honesty, trust, and respect. However, in many Asian cultures, prolonged eye contact or direct eye contact is considered rude and disrespectful. Culturally, space is used differently. In many Latin American cultures, and also the Middle East, people use very little space between them when they are speaking with one another. Sometimes they stand as close as toe to toe. In contrast, American and Asian cultures will stand farther apart when speaking, and standing too close to someone is seen as an invasion of personal space. The meanings of many hand gestures also vary from culture to culture. The OK sign is rude in places like Russia and Germany, but is a symbol for money in Japan. The thumbs up is a vulgar gesture in Australia. The victory sign is vulgar in England, and the famous University of Texas hook 'em horns gesture is considered extremely rude in Italy, but is a sign for good luck in Brazil and Venezuela. Another hand gesture common in the U.S. is curling the finger, like you're motioning someone to come here. In places like Yugoslavia and Malaysia, this is strictly used for calling farm animals, and would be an insult if used for a person. Pointing is also considered rude in other countries, like Japan, where pointing your finger at anyone is a big social faux pas. So in summary, nonverbal communication is part of our human experience. It's as old as our first ancestors and remains the most significant manner in which humans communicate. It can be performed unconsciously or consciously. It can send messages both complex and simple, but the true power of nonverbal communication lies in its ability to reach across cultures and connect people to a common thread of communication. And remember, a smile means the same in every culture.